All right.
Good morning, welcome. It is a bright and sunny Tuesday. Today, auction week. This is auction 16. We have with us today two watch gurus, specialists, technical wizards of the watches world. We have our regular, you're Mr. Tuesday, right?
Yes, I'm usually Tuesday at 11.
Every Tuesday, 11, we know you're here. So
Yes.
welcome, good morning.
Thank you.
And
thanks for having me, of course, as usual.
Always a pleasure having you. And today, bro, we have on Tuesday also, we have Mr. Ralph, who's joining us again this week.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us today. So what we're going to expect, two watch, I think geeks is the wrong word. What do I call it? Watch,
Find out. Yeah.
Idiot savants.
Okay, watch idiot savants. So we're going to follow the same format we did before. We're going to pick categories. I'm going to pick categories for you, gentlemen. And you have to pick one watch each from each of the categories. It can't be a watch you've picked before. And you each have to pick a different watch.
And we alternate on who picks first.
And you alternate on who picks first.
Okay.
Clear? Also, let me just mention before, because I always forget to do this. Auction ends on Saturday. We have a new feature in the auction. I think you may have seen it. Yeah, the auto bid.
Yeah.
So we've just launched auto bid in the auction. Auto bid is a cool feature now, where on any watch in the auction, if you have a limit price in mind, rather than having to manually go do it bit by bit, you can put your limit price, and the system will bid on your behalf in increments till it gets to your limit.
Yeah.
So it makes life easier. And I think we saw it with the Casio G-Shocks over the last 2 days. So some people are bidding and they immediately get outbid because the system is bidding on behalf of someone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a much easier feature to use.
So I did notice because you see the number of bids are lower than the amount. So for instance, usually, let's say if it's an increment of 100.
Yeah.
So it would take you 10 bids to get to 1,000 dirhams if it starts at 100, right?
Correct.
You'd notice it was at 1,000 with only 5 bids or 4 bids, right? So these bids are...
But you're saying the auto bid doesn't count as a bid?
I'm assuming.
Oh, no,
Is it counting? Maybe they're just putting in
check.
1,000 and it goes to 1,000. I'm not sure. But it looked like it was a lower bid count as opposed to the price in the
That's a
increment.
good point. It's worth checking.
But somebody could just put in 10,000 and it goes to 10,000, I'm
Yes.
assuming. So it might not be the same increments.
All right, shall we start?
Yes.
Guys, ready?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
So this is not rehearsed.
Nope.
So they don't know the categories. Some of
Where's
them we
my
spoke about
script?
earlier. And let's choose the first one. Is one we spoke about earlier. If you had a one watch collection, like we spoke about, what would that watch be? Meaning, you can only own, and these are gentlemen who own multiple watches. So if you could only own one watch from the 50 or 49 in the auction, what watch would it be and why?
Mm-hmm.
Take your picks.
Go ahead.
I'm choosing first.
Yes.
You want to?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yes.
Go for it.
go
Go
ahead.
for it. I'll give you.
I'm choosing the Datejust 2.
The Datejust 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite confident
Top
with your pick.
Yep. If it's a one watch collection, that's it.
And you've gone for the Explorer 1?
Of course I'm going for the Explorer one. Are you kidding me? 36 millimeters.
All right. So we let Ralph pick.
Oh, man, two
So
Rolexes.
Martin, you go
There you
ahead
go.
and explain why you chose this watch.
So this is from not this specific one, but this is from my personal collection.
She's going to zoom in. So.
Many years of watch collecting. Starting out hating the Explorer one, I thought it was too simple, too plain. And as time progressed, my tastes have really gone towards simple, under the radar, unassuming, small watches. And this fully, the bracelet doesn't have any polished bits. That's the first thing. Too much bling bling if it has a polished center link for an everyday watch, in my opinion. Plain black dial, and it's extremely small. 36 millimeters, fits under your cuff. It can be a dressy watch,
Not too
sports
small.
watch. It's a Goldilocks.
Not too small.
Not too small
Not
at
too
all.
big?
I mean, once again, 36 millimeters is the original Datejust size. It's the original Explorer one
For a
size.
one watch collection, no date, even window.
Why would you? Nobody needs a date window.
Nobody needs a date.
Nobody. You have a phone for your date window. Come on,
I
guys.
have a phone for time too.
That's
Yeah,
true as
exactly,
well.
right?
This is
I
true as well.
I used to date all the time.
So this to me, it just fits every category. I can dress it up. I can wear this with a suit. I can wear it to the pool. It's 100-meter water resistance. I can do whatever I want. beat the hell out of it, and it's going to be a perfectly capable watch.
Ralph, what do you think?
Okay. Well, should I do a rebuttal?
You can comment, yeah.
So, again, of course, it depends on your wrist size.
It does.
I had the 36 millimeter in two-tone when it came out because I thought, oh my God, this is new, an Explorer 1 in two-tone, right? Which defeats the purpose, of course, of being
exactly, under
not
the
so
radar.
blingy, but it just, I mean, this is not really 36.
It's 35 and a half.
Smaller. So if you have the right wrist, it's perfect, right? I mean, it was the big size for maybe I can open it. I don't know if it works here. Can I get there?
I hope it works.
No, I mean, can I open it enough with
a
the film? But for my wrist, it's a bit flat and a bit broad. I think you have to get used to it. It can work, but if you're used to bigger watches, the first few weeks will be a bit challenging. Right?
With an
Because you
Apple
think
Watch
like,
Ultra
it's
that's
too small,
45
it's too small,
millimeters.
it's too small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the thing: is you have some big
So,
wrists. I
mine is a bit
sadly don't.
flat, and it depends. I mean, you have more choice, and also with vintage watches, right?
Yeah, that's
Sometimes
true,
I wish
that's
I had a
true.
smaller wrist because
Yeah.
then you have way more choice in vintage. Anyhow, but I personally think, for me, the Datejust 2 was the perfect combination between sportiness and elegance.
In this style, the dome oyster.
Yes, exactly. Oyster bracelet and dome bezel. You can exchange it if you want to a fluted bezel. I mean, you can buy that aftermarket as well, original bezels, and then pop it up and change it. If you want a bit more bling, more elegance. But I think it has a bit of a chunkier case
Correct.
compared to the 41. It has a bit of a smaller dial, which makes it a bit more bullish, sportier, actually, I think. But again, you can dress it up, you can dress it down. It's a nice watch to wear with t-shirt and sneakers, and you can also wear it very nicely with a suit. You can wear it to work. It's not too assuming, it's not too flashy, especially because of the dome.
And it has a date
Dome bezel.
function.
It has a date, which I personally use a lot on watches. I'm surprised when I don't have it, how often I look at my watch and think, this has no date, if I wear one without one. And I think specifically with this black dial, you have a very proven watch with a proven movement, right? Without any amplitude issues that you might have with a 32 range.
So I have to
Very
say,
elegant.
I have to add to this. I agree with Ralph on the fact that if you're going to go oyster bracelet, you go domed bezel. If you go fluted bezel, you go Jubilee. To me, those are two categories that I generally try not to mix. But the dial on this matte black dial with black Roman numerals is
nice.
It's definitely something that is very stealth.
And I'm glad you mentioned this because I didn't know this. This is a discontinued dial. And when the Datejust 2s were available, there was no Wimbledon on the steel. The Wimbledon dial was only available on the two-tone.
Correct.
So this was the precursor dial to the Wimbledon. So,
Because
Roman
it has the
numerals
single
and grey and black.
and the single
Loom plot,
loom plot to balance out the white.
You can't
Date
get
window.
This dial isn't available anymore. So a big part of the value of this watch actually is with the rarity of the dial.
Yeah.
But you have to consider in the Wimbledon, they also put a loom plot at 6, right? If I'm not mistaken.
No,
it's
also
the same?
single loom
Single.
plot, which is a bit of a
It's weird.
challenging.
But Rolex and weird go hand in hand with a lot of.
Yeah, and it's only
pieces.
made for like 6 years, right? I think.
But I have to ask you though,
Yeah.
why this one over the Milgauss? It's the same size, same shape, same everything.
I think the Milgauss is just a watch that you can't dress up so much because of the green and the orange. So in certain formal occasions, it might just not work. That's why I thought this one's
Yes.
better. But generally, the Milgauss is a similar case, similar heft to it, with this soft iron cage and all of the stuff. But I think that is just a bit more versatile if it comes to dressing it up than the Milgauss.
So there you have it, 2 black dial Rolexes.
Well, actually, I think 2 observations. It's not only black, but Rolexes. So out of all the brands, both of you picked Rolexes as a one watch, which says a lot,
On
right?
Oyster specifically, I would not have a Jubilee as my everyday watch.
But it's an interesting...
I must say, my second choice would have been the Zenith. Whoops. You
Lumion?
have
Or
here, no, the Zenith
Defy?
Skyline,
Skyline.
DeFi Skyline.
And my second one is going to be the SBGW 231, the Grand Seiko, which is the same
so
size.
maybe you'll be able to include them as part of another category. All right, next one.
All right.
Because you have a few to get through. So number 2.
Okay.
It's your birthday next week. Your wife has said come to Timepiece 360, choose any of the watches from these two windows. Which watch would you choose? No budget. Any watch.
That's
Which watch would you choose?
I go first.
Yeah, Ralph went first. Last time you can go first.
Any watch.
Any watch.
Yeah.
No budget.
Sorry, Ralph. I'm gonna go with the Kermit here. I think the Kermit is.
No
What
problem.
can I say?
It's okay.
It's just such a cool watch.
And Mr. Ralph?
Yeah, I think I would probably go with the Octofinissimo though.
That was my second choice.
You know, just sorry, but it's lovely.
It is really nice. I was between which one of those two should I choose.
Okay, so let's start off with Ralph. Please.
All right.
Tell us this
Well, it's
watch.
my birthday. This is a special watch. I'm in the Middle East for 16 years now. My wife is for 25 years here. So it would be, opportune to have a watch with the Eastern Arabic dial and numbers on it. And of course, a watch in titanium that is that thin. I don't know if I hold it right. There's so much of watchmaking expertise. If you see the designer of Bulgari talk, I can listen to him talk for hours. He's just I forgot his name, Buenamassa, I think. Yeah, he is a lovely person, and he designs fantastic watches. If you see the back, I don't know if you can see it here. It's a micro rotor, of course, because of the height of the movement with, I think, 2 millimeters, 2 point something millimeters, the entire movement. It's crazy. I mean, they're competing with Piaget and Richard Milnau in regards who makes the thinnest watch. It can be, of course, a bit challenging to wear depending on your wrist because of the very broad bracelet, because it comes out of the watch very broadly, tapers nicely, and of course this watch is titanium, and you can't see it on your screen, but it's extremely light.
Very light.
And if it wears on your wrist, then it wears very comfortably.
But even I can pull this off. I mean, I've tried on Octofinissimos numerous times. How does this open?
Oh, very often thinness can also...
I'm not going to mess it up, so you can open it for me. It's just a pull, right? There's no buttons.
Yeah.
And of course, this is a very special birthday gift. Because birthday gifts are usually... I see birthday gifts as things like you always want to have, but you never buy for yourself. Not because of the value, but because of you think like, should I know? But it's a nice surprise then when you get it.
So even with a small wrist, I'm a 6.5-inch wrist, because the lug to lug is so short on this.
And it's,
so it's a 42, I believe, right?
Not sure.
I think it's a 42, but the lug to lug is literally the same as the case size. So it wears well on both small and large wrists.
It's a very good choice.
It's a lovely choice. And a part of me doesn't like the original dial of the Octofinissimo. I felt like there's always something that just didn't. I mean, it was the Roman numerals, I think.
Okay.
But with the Eastern Arabic, and the other one that I really like is the Tokiendo version, where there was no numbers whatsoever. It was this the circles, the inset circles.
And they had the sketch one, which I like.
Oh, the sketch ones, the new ones, also
amazing.
fantastic looking watches. So I'm a huge
but
fan.
just in case, if you are not, if that's out of your budget, which I can understand because that's a lot of money, the Octoroma, while being just a bit thicker, has the same styling elements.
It does.
And it's also a beautiful watch. In-house movement nowadays, right? They have a completely self-developed movement, the BDL 191, 42 or 48 hours power reserve, not 100% sure. It's a very elegant, very nicely decorated movement as well inside, that they developed themselves from scratch. So it's not just a clone of something. A beautiful blue dial as well, sunburst effect.
Yeah. At a quarter of the price?
Oh yeah, I mean, less than that, right? Even, yeah. I think
yes, more than a quarter. Yeah, as in like bigger difference.
Yeah. Slightly thinner
I think it's
bracelet.
starting at 12,600.
Yeah, in the yes,
auction,
it's like 10%.
Something. So
Okay.
it's more than
It's like 20.
Yeah.
sense?
So even less than a quarter, you mean? Less than a quarter.
More or less.
Yes, correct.
And it weighs, of course, since it's like double or 3 times the height, but since this is so thin, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, this is beyond thin. This is we're talking, record-breaking thin.
Absolutely.
So what was when it came out, it was the world's thinnest automatic movement.
Yeah.
So you can imagine at that point, this is still not a thick watch by any means.
No.
So it's very cool.
All right, so that was my birthday
Martin?
So as I said, this was I was between the two.
All right.
But I went with the Kermit, 50th anniversary Submariner commemoration, the first green they put on any Submariner for that matter. And it was at first, no one really liked it.
You can imagine at the time when colors were pretty conservative with Rolex, especially on the men's side. To come up with a green color, I can imagine why it wouldn't have been initially as appealing.
Well, there's a reason I like this one a lot. It's a mishmash of things that they just did well. So if I had this one, I would probably swap the bezel out for a black one.
What?
Which is extremely haram. But
end the video now.
I would. Because this is the only time you can get a small case Submariner with the maxi loom plots. They never did it, because this is the same size loom plots as on the modern big beefed up case Submariners, where the case got bigger as well. Here you get the big loom plots with the small case, and the balance of it all just is absolutely.
The bezel insert?
I think this would be a fantastic dial on a black bezel.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it was that the loom plots were different.
So if you look at the size of it, the I don't know if we don't have a vintage one here, but the loom plots are smaller on the regular plain Submariners.
I must say, for me, I was thinking about this watch as well. In May. I think the color is just amazing, especially with the aluminum bezel. You just have the pop of it, like a small sunburst
the right
effect.
level of pop.
Yeah, and it's also a bit of a richer green than the ceramic. And I find the ceramic is a bit of a duller color.
It is, yeah.
Not that I want to talk the color down, but it's just more flat, more, like the current car colors that are not anymore metallic. They are just flat colors, not too shiny. And that's the same with the ceramic bezel. But this one is a bit more, it's
deep.
more exciting.
There's depth to the color. It's almost goldish as well. It's like a green gold, as opposed to the new, the Hulk, which was just this flat, monochromatic green.
And of course, you have a much more limited amount of watches in the wild, right? So this one is definitely more.
And over time, there'll be less and less of them about.
Yes.
So
And that's the thing is, if you know Adrian from Bark and Jack, he's the one that he has one of these, and he was swapping out the bezel colors.
Oh, really?
And he takes the green bezel, he puts it away,
Yeah,
puts the black on it. Of course you keep it. I mean, it's still a Hulk after all. But no one's going to look twice
Kermit.
at it's still a Kermit, yes, correct. Nobody's going to look twice at a black dial sub. So nobody's going to know, except for you, that this is really a Hulk.
That's
Kermit.
under the
Again,
radar.
so
Nice birthday present.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks to my
happy
wife,
birthday
I guess.
to both of you.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Next category.
And I just want to point out one more thing.
Okay.
The similarities between these two watches. Is that why you like it so much?
I can see. I was wearing a Casio G-Shock today.
The metal G-Shock and then the Bulgari.
So we can talk about power reserve. 2 days maybe. 6 months. Solar powered. World's timer. Chronograph.
But the bracelet and everything is just, there's so much similarity, and both octagonal as well.
Yeah,
so,
that's a bit of
yeah.
So now we know where
your
they got it.
inspiration comes from.
Yeah.
All right. So now you have to each pick a watch. If you're on a budget, and the budget is 10,000 dirhams or below, and you had to pick a watch within that budget, assuming the starting price is below 10,000, that's fine. What watch would you pick each? I think you have an idea of some of the
I'm
watches.
first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't look at Rolex anymore.
Black Bay Pro.
Black Bay Pro.
Pro.
Is it listed at? It is. It's listed at 8.5, I think.
Is
I
it?
think it's just.
No, it's not. It's listed above. It's listed at 10,200.
Maybe 58.
Yeah, you missed it. Has to be below 10,000 dirhams.
Okay, then I'll take the GMT.
The Black Bay.
Yeah, Black Bay GMT.
Which
Above
one?
it, that
Yeah,
one.
the GMT.
How much is this one listed at?
think it's 9 something.
Yeah, I think this one you're just all right.
Yeah.
But I'll double check. Okay, and Martin?
I'm gonna go with my Grand Seiko.
Yeah, I told you the Grand Seiko would come in.
I'm glad it did because I think this is absolutely a massive bargain.
Go ahead, Martin.
I own both of these watches. I think these are both, I own the Blackberry 58, not that. I thought you picked the Blackberry 58. Once again, I think the Grand Seiko as a brand is deeply, deeply undervalued for what they do. This is the Baby Calatrava. Manual wind, handmade Japanese movement. The 9S65, I believe it is. Sorry, I stole it away. 64 or 65. 70-hour power reserve, and it's just such a beautiful execution. It harkens back to the first Grand Seikos, known as the Grand Seiko First. And it's such a simple dial, a simple execution until you get up close to it. And then the way that it plays with the light, the way that the light dances off of those indices is absolutely unbelievable. With the box section sapphire, it is, to me, when I look at Grand Seiko as a brand and I look at Tudor as a brand, I always think, wow, the fact that this costs the same as that. And one is pumped out of a factory and the other one is handmade by artisans. Mm-hmm. To me, I love both Tudor and Grand Seiko, but for some reason, this I think is a better value for what you're getting.
I totally agree with you. Which is one of the points I was making is like, okay, you also don't have a date here. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, that's.
We have a theme coming. Small watches, no
small
dates.
Watches, no dates.
Yeah, but it's a hand-drawn movement, non-automatic, so it's really nice. You have to interact with your watch a bit every now and then, every 3 days.
It's a strap monster as well.
It's lovely. I love Grand Seiko, but of course, my choice was a bit more safe, right? Because this watch has already a bit depreciated. I won't depreciate much more. So that's basically where you're at with this watch. Also 70 hours power reserve. You have an independent hour hand because it's a GMT, true GMT,
true
as
GMT,
they say, right? Because you can argue what is true and what is untrue or false. But anyhow, it's a great watch. Can track 2 or 3 time zones with it, thanks to the bezel. Is a Pepsi. It's also a strap monster. 22 millimeter lug width. You can wear it with lovely leather straps. You can wear it with
NATOs.
Or the Jubilee that I had 1 or 2 episodes before that I have on mine, because I have the watch as well. And I also have Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko also, as I said, a perfect watch, but this is a bit more, well, you have Loom, you have a date, and it works nowadays.
Yeah.
So no issues with that. It's a lovely, lovely watch. Though it is thick, right? You have a very different choice here. That's elegant on a leather strap, and this is a bit more sporty, right? So definitely something with a different use case on it.
This is in the auction for 9,900. This
Get
is
it?
in the auction for 9,000.
Correct.
Very cool.
So retail price of this one, how much was it? 16?
It's at the moment 17,200. Yeah.
Okay, and this one is 16,800. So retail, once again, these two, retail at the same price, have depreciated to the same price, roughly, right? So it's unbelievable how you have two stark oppositions in terms of what they look like, what they do.
Yes.
And yet we're still somehow the same.
Have to give it to you. That's a handmade movement.
Yeah.
It is decorated to a very, very nice extent by hand. You have amazing hands with a quality that is very different compared to the Tudor. But here you have just, with this robustness.
And that's the thing that you're missing here is this thing.
Heritage, right?
30 meters water resistance, which is nothing, zero in essence, right?
It's, I think 100 or 200 meters.
This is 200.
200.
So you can go swimming, you can go diving, you can do whatever you want with this. So this is, in this case, what you didn't specify. Is this our only watch?
No.
Because you just said under a budget, right? So in this case,
next watch.
I don't need this to do everything, right? This satisfies its goal very, very well for the price point.
Okay. All right. I don't know. We have time
Next
to use a few more.
One more. We're doing too slow.
One more. All right. I just want to check
The time?
No, I'm just checking the types of watches you've chosen. Okay. All right. You both have to pick. You are going to a Formula One event next week. You are actually competing and you need a chronograph watch. You each pick a chronograph.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have a few chronographs, right? I'm trying to check now. I didn't even check. We don't have that many actually.
No.
But no, we have a few.
We have a few.
Yeah, enough to choose from.
That's a tough one.
Oh no, we have a few. All right. What would you pick and why?
I guess I go first.
No. Okay.
So there's two that I like that exist in this collection. I'm gonna go with the. Okay, maybe there's three. I'm gonna go with
The Speedbuster.
the Speedmaster with the Moonphase. The Speedmaster
Okay.
automatic.
And Ralph?
Well, I'm beating him in precision. I'm going with the Bamford G-Shock here.
The Bamford G-Shock.
I did.
All right.
Okay, all right. Can I start all over?
No.
I was thinking mechanical chronograph.
I didn't say that. I just said a chronograph.
Yeah, well, you win. Okay.
No.
All right.
I would have picked one of the G-Shocks.
Mhm.
So Ralph, please explain to us what you have on your wrist. No, not on your wrist.
I mean,
in your hand.
in my hand. Okay, that's sorry, that's a GW 5000 as well, right?
6900.
6900. Oh yeah, sorry, GW 6900. Special version designed by the Bamford watch department, George Bamford. So you see the special color, and of course the branding everywhere. You have Bamford all over the watch. It's a lovely watch from a design perspective. Probably would go for a Hodinkee version for collecting, but this is for the racetrack, right? So I'm taking this one because it's a G-Shock, so it's in the name. It can sustain a lot of G-forces that I might have. Big pushers, easy for me to operate the chronograph, and I have a hundredth of a second precision to time my laps. And of course I have a lap timer as well, right? I said, no, I don't.
I think
But
it does.
I take one lap at least, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I can do that. And I think I can measure up to 24 hours. So
Essentially, it's a
Five
flyback chronograph. It's a minute repeater. No, not a minute. It's an hour. Chimes the hours,
Yeah.
right? It has an alarm function.
yeah, it does.
All
What
for
else
the
could you
low
want?
price. Exactly.
All right. And
And
Martin?
super robust.
So I went for the coaxial Omega Speedmaster. I'm not sure. I don't think this one came on this strap originally, right? I think this strap is the
No, but I
Commander
think it has.
Bond one from the white Seamaster. I might be wrong, but I love the combination of the blue and the dial here.
It's a
So
stunning car.
this dial and the bezel, this blue, it's a very
At the moment,
beautiful.
I think it's at around 20,000, right?
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And that is an amazing deal.
So retail prices are around 40, if
Yeah.
I'm not
Over
mistaken.
40.
Over
And
40.
this, I mean, if you take a look to the dial, I mean, the sunburst, which you don't
It's
have so
beautiful.
often on these watches, is beautiful. And you have this I think one of the nicest moon phases
Yes.
ever created, because
It
the moon
is.
is in a detail. It's like
I
photorealistic.
don't know if you can see the moon here,
So
but it
nice.
is like a photo of the moon. So you can see the lighter and darker
I don't
areas.
know how they did it. It's not a photo, but it looks like one.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
And in case you haven't guessed, I despise date windows. And they did the date as a subdial on this one, which
Pointer.
I love. Anything that's a pointer date, I think it's a fantastic. So if you look at it, inside the chronograph hand, there is the running seconds? I'm not sure. No, inside the running seconds hand, there is a date function as well. So very, very well executed. And the other thing that I like about the coaxial, the bicompax version of the Speedmasters is they put the minutes and the hours on one dial, which basically you can use it as a second
Yes.
time zone, which is super cool.
No, I think
So-
both very good choices.
Very cool.
In their own rights.
Both blue.
Yeah, and they both got
A
some
bit.
blue.
Hello? All right.
All right.
I think we're saying that's
That's
it
a wrap.
time. Guys, gentlemen, was there any watches which you wanted to mention which we didn't mention at all?
Yeah.
Hodinkee G
Just
Shocks.
quickly. Just quickly.
Okay.
All right, we have 1 minute to
I
mention
think
them.
there's two definitely that we have to look at.
Yes, yes, yes.
The
Okay.
Now independent Gérard Perregaux. There's another one, a chronograph, beautiful watch, also for extremely good prices. And you have now this, I mean, they just left the Kering group, are independent now together with Ulysse Nardin. Great brand.
This is actually a limited edition. This was the first Loretto they released in 2016 on the reissue.
Very nice, integrated bracelet. It's a lovely watch.
It is.
And this Omega Seamaster in green. It's hard to get.
The green
Yeah,
dial.
they're popping up now every now and then, but they're not so easy to get. And the green is also absolutely
It's
fantastic
beautiful.
in person. I mean, you see this on the website, and it doesn't do it justice.
And they have a
it's just
green
so-
rubber strap version, which is absolutely
yeah,
stunning. So this with the green rubber strap that they make is
We can get
so
the
good.
strap.
Exactly. So and this, it's just the green matches perfectly on that strap.
No, good choice.
Just should be mentioned.
Yes, and Martin. So you have 3 watches. We said 1, but okay.
It's one lot. It's one lot. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely love these. The three.
This is the trio.
The trio, the trilogy, the John Mayer X Hodinkee X G-Shock trilogy, released over 3 separate years. Hodinkee announced that they were finished doing these collaborations. So I think they're a fantastic trio. And the black one is super hard to get. It's getting increasingly hard to get. Came out in 2019. So it becomes, it's been a while since they were released. So they're just jumping up in price. But I love the fact that they're all together. That's, I think,
Set.
as Faisal said, one of these things where the 3 together supersedes the price of each individual unit.
No, agreed.
Super
No,
cool.
great choices. Thank you once again, Ralph. Thank you,
Welcome.
Martin. I think the value add you have, by describing some of the details that typically some of us would miss out on. We've learnt a lot today, so thank you, gentlemen, very much as always. If you have any questions, any details you want to know, you're welcome between today and Saturday to come and see the watches. We're open daily from 10 to 8 p.m. If you have any questions regarding any of these items, please do drop us a note. tpauctions.global. You can find the details of all of these watches here and all of the watches in the auction, and you can also bid online. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day, and see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.